Okay, I will just move, just checking. Yeah, I will just remove my video and leave it to you. Ken?
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ken Long, and I'm a business advisor in the federal government's Entrepreneurs Program. The Entrepreneurs Program, and I'm only going to give you a quick summary, provides expert advice to eligible businesses. We try and help businesses in their growth capabilities, build productivity and competitiveness. We encourage businesses to work with researchers, and we provide some funding to do that. And we also encourage commercialization of novel products, processes, and services. So could you just go to the next slide, Christelle?
Sure.
There's 4 elements to the Entrepreneurs Program. There's business management, which is the area that I work with, innovation connections, which is connecting businesses and research organizations, accelerating commercialization, that largely speaks for itself, and incubator support. So they're the 4 elements of the Entrepreneurs Program. So next slide. So under business management, what we offer our clients is a business evaluation, look at their business, see how they can do business better. For companies that have good growth opportunities, we can work with them in a longer term engagement. There's also a supply chain facilitation program to help companies with build their supply chain capability. And we also provide learning events, which is what we're doing today. And for some of our programs, we have what's called a business growth grant, which is a $20,000 match funded program to help you build business capability. So just the next slide, which is, so look, this is just to let you know that there is a lot happening behind the scenes with our department in terms of capturing business intelligence around supply chains and things like that. A lot of this information is coming from ourselves or from expressions of interest that the government has put out. And this information is being used to help decision makers across our department. And just to give you an example, one of my clients is involved in making drapes and gowns. And look, someone from our department was interested in talking to them. I actually had 2 conversations with them on one day, and the second one was at 6:15 p.m. at night. So there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes in relation to supply chain. So that's the good news, and there may be some good things happening for Australian manufacturing coming out of that. Next slide. So there's just my contact details. If you want to know more about these programs, then get in touch with me. These details were on the initial brochure, plus they'll be on the presentation. So please feel free to get in touch with me. So now it's time to start the presentation proper. This is around how exporters can survive COVID-19 and then prosper. It's a major challenge for a lot of companies that I'm dealing with, and no doubt that's why you're on the line today. So we'd like to welcome Christelle. Christelle runs an organisation called Exportia, which helps companies export their technology to Europe. And this seminar came out of some discussions that Christelle and I had, and we just felt that this was an important webinar to have, really to encourage our exporters in the way they're going to be doing business, because sometimes there are new opportunities which will arise out of crisis situation like we're in now. So over to Christelle. She's an amazing presenter. She has great insight into export, and she has been very successful in helping her clients achieve success in Europe.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to do this event together. And we will also have Dominic will join us from Austrade for support. Thanks for being with us, Dominic. So just a bit about Exportia quickly. We provide an outsourced European sales and marketing organization for Australian businesses, small and medium-sized. Our goal for every client is to take them to their first €1 million in sales, and we also take them beyond that. So why are we doing this webinar today? Simply because we've been working with our customers on and working through the challenges that COVID is throwing at us collectively as exporters. And there has been a number of recent challenges. One of them is international travel has stopped. So if you're a salesperson and you can't travel to visit your customers, even domestic travel, if I talk about my team or maybe your sales team internationally, So you can't visit your customers simply. Transport of goods is also heavily impacted because some routes are closed, some are disturbed, there's longer lead times. A number of countries have issued orders of lockdown, so your customers are actually working from home. COVID affects directly international customers, their staff, their colleagues, their family members. And some industries internationally have also reduced their time of operation. They work 4 days, they work 50% of their time. So it has a direct impact on our activity internationally. Mainly essential industries continue to run almost normally: energy, water, health, transport. And with the increased safety measures, so the obligation for workers to wear masks, quarantine obligations, sometimes isolation, social distancing, it's creating a lot of complication for businesses to run normally. Large key accounts, large multinationals have a lot of constraints to implement and to keep their activities, their factories going. It does create a lot of economic stress, and let's talk about how we're gonna overcome that today. This is an opportunity, I think, and this is what I found when we're working through those issues with our customers. This is an opportunity to build a more resilient business and a scalable business internationally as well. So just a bit about myself for the ones that don't know me. I'm the founder of Exportia. I have 20 years of experience in European sales in B2B, working mainly with multinationals, selling to them Australian products and taking those Australian companies to their first million and beyond. I'm multilingual. Our business has 2 offices, one in Australia and one in Europe, where I have a European-based team. We usually represent and work with Australian companies on 10 to 20 shows per year in Europe to promote their product. These are some of my core team members. So Isabelle, French native, German native, fluent in French and in other languages. Christina, who is French Ukrainian and who speaks a gazillion of languages. And then we have a customer service manager that look after European customers for our Australian clients and our 2 offices. So this is the type of things we do, and that's why I'm here today to talk to you about how to maintain sales. So here is an example of an Australian New South Wales-based respirator manufacturer. We've been working with them for the last 5 years plus. Initially, we helped them map out the French market for them with key accounts and main distributors. We did sign up 2 distributors for them, negotiated the terms and trained those distributors. After that, we did implement a network of independent sales agents throughout France. Once we hit the first €1 million in sales, then we decided it was time to hire a sales rep for CleanSpace. So we did hire their first sales rep and then implemented 4 more distributors and then a sales director for them. After that, in parallel, what we started to build is a German, Swiss, and Austrian market. Started again from scratch, 3 distributors, focusing on key accounts in Germany, 1 distributor in Switzerland, and now we are in parallel to our sales team, our Exportia sales team. We also have 1 sales rep hired directly by CleanSpace, 32 distributors in Germany, 3 in Switzerland, and 2 in Austria. So now this is a very successful business. And as they are manufacturing respirators, we are also now focusing on helping them to commercialize their respirators. And we've been doing that for the last year in the healthcare for healthcare workers. So we've been really busy in the last month. And in the last year, as you can imagine, working with hospitals. So what is the direct impact for Exportia of COVID? First, we can't visit our customers and prospects. Our international customers are not responsive. We don't quite know where they are. Are they working from home? Are they 40%? So we kind of need to track them. Shipping internationally has become a challenge. So we're trying to track where our shipments are going, when our customers going to get their goods. A lot of purchasing decisions are put on standby. And so it kind of delays the sales, and so that's, of course, has an impact. Our trade show and conferences have been postponed, cancelled and postponed. Our oversales team is working from home as well. It might be new for some of them to work from home. I mean, the thing is, they usually work from home for a lot of sales teams, but they used to visit their customer, not to stay at home. Distributors have reduced their activity, we found, with some distributors worldwide. And I know distributors in the European market that have implemented a 50%. So they work 50% of the time, and the government compensates the rest of their salary. So they've decreased their activity, and we find that we either have a massive market demand in the health and safety area, or we have business that has significantly slowed down in the industry. So we have to navigate through that. So what we're going to do now is, we've done the introductions. Now we're going to look at a framework I've just put together based on my experience with my customers and what we do for them at the moment. We go through the 10 tips for the next 30 minutes or so, and then we'll have a Q&A. What you need to know is this webinar is recorded, so that everybody knows. If it disconnects, because the internet is very challenged at the moment, internet bandwidth is very challenged, just hang on, we will reconnect. So just stay online. If one of the speakers has bad connection, it will reconnect. So just hang on and bear with us. We ask you for your patience. Q&A, we'll do it as we go. If there's a lot of companies that are asking questions, we'll try to take them as we go. If we can't, we promise to get back to you after the webinar if we don't have time to go through them. And also we will collect ideas potentially for another webinar if we can provide another one if there's other issues we haven't covered. And there will be issues that we won't be able to cover today. So today the focus is really how we do we'll focus on maintaining the sales mainly through COVID and maintain business alive. So 10 practical tips for exporters to survive and prosper after COVID. So let's start on tip number 1. So show you are open for business is a very important one. So as we have international customers, they might think if you go silent because you're reorganizing your business for COVID, they might think that you've gone out of business, right? So you have to make sure you communicate with them. So avoid the spamming, emailing with COVID, a very anxious COVID headline on the title. Just do a personal and practical communication to your key contacts and just say, here is how we are getting, I'm just checking in with you. Here is how we are getting organized for COVID. This is the business hours. We're working from home. You can reach me on my mobile, and you just explain simply things. Don't bombard people, very large databases with emails, and it's not really well received. Okay, it's time to be active online, on your website, on social media, and making sure you get the right search engines and Google words on your website.
Or someone, was it Craig rang me?
Oh, sorry, Ken. So it's more important than ever to be active online and to show that your business is going on. So post some news, it's very important, and it's a good way. If you get any new visitor to your website from a country you've never exported to before, it's good that for them to see, it's quite reassuring for them to see that you have posted some news lately, that you have things happening in your business. So really continue to post, have your website updated. Don't put the sales discussions on hold. Don't assume everyone is on hold. Of course, you have to be listening to your customers and not be too pushy if they put everything on hold, but don't assume everything is on hold. Not everything is on hold. So just keep the sales discussion going, and I'll show you a bit later how we can do that. Reschedule all your face-to-face meetings through web meetings. I think this is a norm now. People understand that very easily. With a lot of even countries that are not in lockdown, they refuse to have meetings, so their staff are working from home, so they'll be very well aware of that, and so there won't be any problem. Maintain your website updated, I've said that before, and keep your usual marketing communication going. Keep the regular news going, just maintain your normal activities. I see the comment from John there saying that a lot of his difficulties is around supply chain, that is not getting the import from overseas for him to manufacture the product. I think we won't talk about that today, but that's one of the subjects we will keep in mind for the next one. Okay, tip number 2, take the pulse of key relationships. So what we're trying to do here, so you check in with them to see if they're well. What you want to do is you want to maintain your bread and butter, your revenue going. You need to protect your current revenue with your key customers. So you need to check how they are getting organized with COVID. How are they handling it? How can you reach them? Are they working from home? Have they any specific hours? Have they reduced the hours? Do they work just 4 days a week? Do they, is there somebody which does kind of a permanent contact? Is there anybody going to the business for once a week? So how are they organized? You need to ask questions and try to detect how financially, how that is. So questions like, I can see, for example, with the companies we deal with, some of them are running as usual, except everybody's at home. Some other businesses have reduced the hours. Some businesses have put people on long service leave. So you can gauge what's their financial health and status depending on that. So what you need to watch very closely is the payment terms. Are they still paying you? Are they still on time? So your accounting needs to go high alert and really measure, are they payment late? This is your bread and butter. You need to make sure that your payments are on time. What are their forecasts for the coming months? So there's a lot of industry people online, and maybe some of your customers give you normally a forecast. So is that forecast going to change, and how are you going to arrange? So try to be, okay, we don't want to be flexible around payments. We might even implement stronger payment terms, payment upfront instead of payment at delivery or something like that. But when it comes to their forecast, if they have a decrease in activity, there's no way they're going to maintain their forecast. And I think that's where we can be a bit flexible. Tip number 3, nurture customer relationships. So how are we going to get the relationship going with, let's say we've started to develop a new country, a new market. We've developed a list of leads, of prospects, and I have that every day with my team. We've developed some leads in different countries. So how are we going to continue the discussion with them? So we can first of all checking that they're well. Again, it's always a good thing. And I think now what we're seeing and what they appreciate is that we're moving from a small sales pushy into bracket pushy sales approach to a softer approach. So your business decisions are going to be put on hold or maybe postponed for some cases. So we're going to have to accept that. But what we can do is those people have plenty of time in their hands. They are based at home. And so we can push through to them a lot of content. So you can start to provide them some videos, shoot some videos about introducing your business, demonstrating your product. You can interview customers, you can use Zoom or other solutions. You can propose webinars to them. You can just record a slide deck, you talking over a slide deck. You can write articles around case study, and so I just removed my camera because the audio seems to have gone not that good, so I hope it's better now. Let me just go. So you can provide case studies and translate the content in multiple languages. Let's say you were targeting the Japanese market. Get some articles about your product, some case study, translate them in Japanese, start to send them to key prospects and key contacts. You can also shoot some videos, and it's very easy to get the subtitles translated and checked by a native speaker. We've done that a lot with our customers. Show how you solve their problem, talk to them about their industry problem and how you help solve it. Educate them about your solution. So while we're going through this period, the way you can maintain contacts with key prospects and key customers is just to continue the discussion and educate them. Build your credibility. So it's hard because you can't really meet them in person if you've never met them. So you have to show them some cred, show them some case studies, talk to them about references, and build your cred this way. Tip number 4, rethink your sales process with the sales team and customers that are at home. So your customers are at home, your sales team are at home. So your entire sales process needs to change because there's no face-to-face visit anymore. So focus on your energy in countries where you are already active. So if you started to prospect in countries, so keep active on those countries. I think the only exception is if you are in a high demand sector, let's say you're working in the medical sector and you've been bombarded with new demand from new countries, just also take into account and take this opportunity to expand your footprint internationally and go through those new inquiries, of course. Any marketing piece must be visual and easy to understand as possible. We've moved from a pushy sales approach. I mean, we don't want to be too pushy in our sales, but leads generation, cold calling approach to a soft approach where we educate. So any marketing piece you're issuing to your market needs to be educative, explaining, easy to understand, very visual. Customers, have always your ideal customer profile in mind when you produce this content. Focus on your key message to that perfect customer. The perfect customer is a customer that you solve a problem for them, and so you're going to communicate around that message over and over. So think about things. How do you introduce the technology? Can you maybe put together a video slide deck with a voiceover? How do you show the customer the product? What happens if you have a physical product, if it's not a software? If it's a physical product, when the customer receives the product, what do they do when they open the box? If you have a software, then it's very easy. How do you do your demo online? Can you record your demos? And it's much more business as usual for software companies as they are used to do a lot of demos online. How do you train your customers on your specific products? What are the steps? Where do you start? And how do you articulate it? How do you deliver that content remotely instead of being face-to-face? So usually maybe you send somebody, now you have to actually get somebody either on a web meeting, or you're gonna have to produce some content to explain how to get trained. And also think about what things are important to them that maybe you could give a webinar on. That's also an idea. So this is one of our templates we use at Exportia. And this is showing a B2B sales process. And what we're going to do today is we're going to quickly look at how a sales process that you may have your own form of in your own business is going to be impacted by how we do the fact that your sales is not face-to-face anymore, and that everything has to be done online through web. So basically, we first, pre-sales, we do lead generation first. Okay, I'm having a bit of issue with my audio, so let me just check. Let me check my audio, guys. Sorry about that. Hello, hello. Okay, I hope the audio is better, guys. Yep, sorry about that. Okay, we have to be flexible. All right, leads gen. So we start with lead generation, you know, Facebook campaigns or cold calling campaigns. You go to a trade show, so that's leads generation, right? Now, next step is we do a demo. So we demo a product. Usually, you know, we take them to a customer site, or we take them, we get them to visit another demonstrate a product on a show or so on. And then we get them to trial it, especially if it's a technical product. We then get them to test it. And then once they're all confident that it works fine for them, then they buy. That's the sales. And then once they sell, especially for technical products, after that, there's a whole customer care. You know, to build the customer retention, you would train them about your product. You would help them. You would help them set up and train and so on. So, yep, the slides are going now. Okay, next slide. I hope everyone see the next slide with the client X sales process with the little bubbles filled in. So let me check that we're all good. Yep. All right. So now let's think about COVID. Now we have no salespeople, no people going on site to check if something is working or not. So leads gen, let's have a think about that. If you start to push some multilingual soft content to educate your market around who you are, what problem does your product solve, on short videos, you can then promote them online on Facebook campaigns. We've done that very successfully with some of our customers. We've pushed a lot of content online, educational videos. It's been working really well. So you grab their attention and you give them a call to action. The call to action is, would you like an online demo? Would you like a presentation online? So that's the call to action. So then you qualify those leads that you get online. And in this slide deck presentation you would do, or the demo you would do, then you show your value add, you provide credentials, because remember, you have to build your credibility without meeting them face to face. So you have to provide the credentials. You won some awards. You've got nice customers that are using your product. So provide that online as well in your presentation when you are presenting online to them. Next steps, then you qualify them. Would they like to trial? So when they trial your technology, your product, in some normal circumstances, most of our customers may send a free sample of a free trial. What I'm saying to my customers at the moment is, forget the free giveaways. It's not time to give free stuff. If people want to try, they can buy smaller quantities and get them and try the product. So I would push more small purchases. It's a good way for you to check how good they pay. Are they good payer? Are they still financially healthy? Or do they really want the free stuff because financially they're not really stable? So that's a really good way to assess how they're going. Call then your next call to action. So you prepare your closing of the sale. So nothing that you guys won't know as salespeople for some of you. Prior to making the offer, when you start to work on your offer, work on safe payment terms, payment before dispatch. It's more than important than ever to have really good payment terms in your favor. Don't be flexible on that. It's not the time right now. You can credit check them, but really the safe way is they pay and you ship. And once you receive the payment, you ship. You have to realize that the signature may be suspended or postponed. You can't really push people to buy right now. It's a bit tough for everyone, and to get the signature, get the hold of the boss to get a signature is a little bit hard for very large multinationals. So what you do in the meantime is you continue your education until you have the opportunity to close your sale. So continue to educate around the technical products, train people, respond to their, have a technical person support you in a web call to discuss about, the technical features, the value add, organize some introductions to peers and to customers of yours that are using the product fine. And then once you're ready, you close. So you're going to have to maintain that relationship alive while the client is ready to close. This is the hard part, but education is a key word. Soft content, not being pushy, but educating is really right. Is really what you need to do. So then, let's say you get a sale, and what happens? You need to rethink your customer care side. You need to prepare for an induction online, a web training. Maybe you train a model. Maybe you change the way you're going to train. How are you going to train the new clients with your new product on how they're going to use it? Maybe you think about super user groups. Are there super user groups you could implement? I mean, it's very common in IT. Why not implement it in your sector? Training videos. Get your team involved to start to get the training videos shot. I mean, if they're based at home and they can't travel, they might as well shoot some videos. Can the customers do some checklist? Do their own checks? Okay, when I receive this product, or when I set up this software or this cloud-based solution, here are the things I need to check. So you give to your customer a lot of educational tool, and you kind of empower them to get educated about your product. So tip number 5. Think how COVID will reshape your working relationships with your overseas distributor. So I think for distributors and channel partners, if you're in the IT sector, this is a moment of truth. There's still a few distributors that are struggling at the moment, and it is a moment of truth. Only the strong ones will survive, the ones that have a solid business, solid value add. And you need to detect in your distribution, so a lot of you have distributors around the world, which ones are still focusing on your product right now? Which ones are your really high performers? You will see that right now. You will see who is continuing to work, and watch how they behave. What measures do they take? Do they put their staff on reduced hours, or are they still healthy enough to be able to continue selling your product? Check also that they are fine to deliver to their end users. So do they still have their delivery people or good relationship with freight forwarders to get the shipment to the end users, or are there any impediments there? So that's something that is really important to to know. Do you need to reorganize yourself for shipping to end users? Are you better off drop shipping to end users instead of them handling that? Depending on the country, it might be a good idea. If you think about Italy, at the moment, it's a bit hard to go through a distributor that will then ship in Italy. Why not just drop for very large quantities to directly to the end user? It's time to retrain your very good distributors and the ones that are still active during that hard period, and to empower them more to sell more on your behalf. So basically, if you don't have staff presence in a specific country and you have a very good distributor, really help them. Also check with them, can they assist you with any customs issue? Customs are a bit delicate at the moment, so can they help you out? It's their job anyway. Should you go direct in some instances instead of through distributors? And should you change your payment terms? Are they still paying normally, or are they getting longer payment? Do they have any payment delays? Really watch that very closely at the moment. It's super important. Okay, next slide. Other ideas. So what we're doing with some of my customers, we're really choosing the strongest and the best distributors. We super train their sales champions. So in the team, in the sales team of a distributor, you will always have 1 or 2 sales champions. And so we tend to want to focus on them and super train them, because if they love your product, they're going to continue doing their best to sell it. And so train them so that they're real extension of your sales team. Put some emphasis and support to them. Provide them with a specific enhanced technical support to support them more than before, because they are the ones that are going to get the sales for you, and it's very important to support them. Favor them over the underperforming one. Give them special deals. I'm not talking about better payment terms. I'm talking about specific deals, like maybe some goodies or some specific support you could provide to them you would not provide to another distributor. Sell with them, be involved in the sales process, show your support to them in front of their customer. So it's really time to demonstrate that you support the really good ones. They are going to help you get some sales overseas, and so you really need to empower them to do so. Tip number 6, keep your international sales team busy on meaningful tasks. Okay, so at the moment, like in my team is usually on the road all the time, and now they're locked at home. So how are they going to keep the sales opportunities going and continue to close the sales as much as they can? So there's a few things to watch with the sales team, salespeople. I know them really well because I'm a salesperson. So first of all, watch their mental health. And I'm serious here. You salespeople are used to being out and about a lot of the customers. They're not used to stay at home. So watch that they're well and make sure that you keep them busy. So what I've done with some of my sales team is I'm just giving them specific projects to help with the current sales opportunities. I am getting them projects to shoot specific content, and you want to also focus them on the current sales opportunities, but also prepare after COVID. Help them, ask their help to prepare after COVID. Coach them as well on identifying the clients and the distributors that are at risk. You know, has this distributor not been responsive? When have you been in touch with them? How are they going? Have they reduced their hours? Is everybody still working there? So coach them through the signals that they need to detect so that you know, okay, that distributor or that client is at risk for us. Get them to focus on key relationships. So key relationships, people that keep buying, needs to be supported, and keep them busy. So I'm giving you more ideas here as well to keep your sales team busy. So train them. So you know how we went through the sales process delivery and how you can adapt it to COVID and having your customers and your sales team online. Well, train them on how to implement that on that new sales process delivery. Give them do's and don'ts. I have a bit later on them, I think it's on my next slide, do's and don'ts on the WebConf. I have even written an etiquette for of what to do, what not to do. Let them be part of the online sales delivery process. Can they shoot videos? Can they train end users online? And how can they deliver pieces of product training? So salespeople are usually used to demonstrate a product, explaining how it works and so on. So can they maybe shoot those mini videos to show, you know, what are the top things to check when you're using the product? Can they train a super user in the market? Can they train a super user at a client? What would be the steps? Can they create training content? Can they create a checklist, even just a checklist, and you formalize it and you can check it with your end users? Or maybe you can give them a research project. What are in the target markets, key target customers we haven't approached yet, and we should, and we never have time to do it, now we do, let's do it. Should they change their focus and focus on client in essential industries? Should they do a market push on essential industries that are still running at the moment? So those are some of the things to think about with sales team. Okay, tip number 7, and Dominic, I'm soon coming to you on tip number 9, just letting you know. Tip 7, be flexible but professional. We're doing crazy things at the moment we would never do in normal circumstances. So be flexible. I was talking to an Italian doctor recently because I had to train him, and he said to me, look, our Wi-Fi at the hospital is really bad. And I said to him, okay, then I'm gonna have to train you on FaceTime. Would I've had trained him on FaceTime, quite a very high professor? Probably not. On normal times, I would never have done that. But basically, I am going to train his team on FaceTime because they have very poor Wi-Fi, and I have no choice. But I will make it very professional. I will have it very well prepared. I will share a lot of information with them prior. And so we need to be flexible, but we need to stay professional as well. So check the quality of the internet of your customer before you do the web conferences and the web meetings. It's very important. Technology fails, have your backup plan and announce it. So have you seen me, you've heard me before. I said, look, internet is not great. If anything happens, stay online, we'll be back. Warn them as well, give them some notice. It's also time to look the part. So Australian companies often have nice corporate shirts with their logo. So it's time to tell your sales team, wear your corporate shirt on the web demo. Give them some banners. Tidy slide decks is important as well when you do web demos. And also maybe it's time to think about changing your working hours to suit your market. Because nobody's traveling, as an Australian company, do you need to work different hours to suit your American market or your European market, so that's something to consider. Something to share with your team, video meetings etiquette. First of all, before you do the web meeting, prior to that, especially with large corporates and government, check with the IT department, are they okay with the platform you're using? Is that fine? Can we do a test? You need to have a white background or a banner behind you of your company. And also ask for consent if you record. I've told you before, we're recording this webinar and people need to be aware of it. Don't record if you don't have their consent. They need to be informed at least. Remember to have your backup plan. Let's say, I know I have my backup plan. If our connection stops, I will call you through my phone on 4G. That's my backup plan for today. Prepare the agenda and share it prior, and preferably corporate shirts, slide deck ready, have links open prior to the meeting, and have your gear ready prior to your meeting. So let me accelerate a bit. Stay alert and vigilant. So payments. Watch your payments. Businesses are closing down. Some of them are. It's sad, but it's true. Watch your overseas customers' payment and make sure your accounting is really watching that closely. Change to payment before dispatch whenever you can. I think it's crucial to get paid. Make sure you get paid before you ship anything. Freight, follow through the shipments until they've arrived. Don't assume because it's left Australia it will arrive. It may not. You really have to follow through and make sure it arrives. Hacking, general, I know it's a bit of a strange one, but everybody's working from home at the moment. And us small businesses are the first target of hackers. We need to raise our cyber security levels, and your employees are connected from home. So it's time for you to have a solution for that and make sure you are raising your cyber security. So today we're doing a marketing webinar on Zoom. There's no confidential information shared, but if I had some IP sensitive discussion with the customer, I might not be using Zoom. There has been some alert about that. So have a think about safety in those crazy times. Don't undermine that. And now I'm coming to Dominic, who's going to talk about additional support, and I'm going to hand it over to you. So.
Thanks, Christelle. How's my volume? Can people hear me okay?
Fine. Yep, sounds good.
All right, thank you. So just while Christelle gets the 2 or 3 slides that we've provided up, I'll just describe who I am and where we're from. So my name's Dom Bilby. I manage a team within Austrade who delivers grant programs in the main. We work with our colleagues in Australia and overseas to assist exporters accessing foreign markets. So Austrade is the government agency that I work for. That's the Australian Trade and Investment Commission. So Austrade has around 70 posts worldwide, and at each of those posts there are business development managers who are what we call locally engaged staff. So they're locals within that country who have expertise in particular sectors and in particular markets within some of those larger areas. You can see from the slide there how you can access, if you're not familiar with Austrade services, you can have a look at our website. We've also got our phone number and an email contact there if you haven't previously registered for Austrade services. So I'm also going to talk about the Export Market Development Grants Program and also a recent announcement with respect to international freight assistance. So just a little about the Export Market Development Grants Program. It's a very long-running program. It's been around since the 1970s. It's adapted with the times to be available to pretty much all products and services that Australian businesses offer. So a very broad range of businesses, whether it's from mining support, education services, health services. We see financial services operatives. There are still a very large number of manufacturers accessing the program. I see that comment about more than 8 there. Thanks from John. So the program assists small to medium enterprises. So and that's defined essentially just by a turnover cap of $50 million. So if you have turnover of less than that, then and you've got an Australian product or one with significant Australian content, then you're very likely to be eligible for our program. It is a reimbursement program. People often find the word grant implies that there's sort of money up front. but it is in fact a reimbursement program. So it seeks to incentivise you to spend more on promotional activity, and it reimburses all kinds of promotional activity, including the engagement and maintenance of overseas representatives. And Christelle's been talking about the importance of having those allies on the ground overseas and having them well prepared. So up to half of their expenses are reimbursable. Also, website builds and the promotional side of your websites are reimbursable. Marketing visits, not really relevant right now, but hopefully in short order that'll all come back online. Fingers crossed, and people will be able to start travelling again. And your marketing visit expenses are also reimbursable. You do need to spend $15,000 each year. That said, though, in your first year, you're able to combine the 2 previous financial years' expenditure to reach that $15,000 threshold, and then you'll be able to pursue an application in the program. The government announced last week extra funding for the program. That's in the order of another $50 million. That's on top of a further $60 million over 3 years that was announced last year. So the program funding is now at a historic high of $207 million. And some of you who are participating in the program now will be aware that we've just made payments of $44 million to almost 1,000 exporters as part of what we call the second tranche payment. Importantly, at the moment, Austrade's collecting, we're talking to many of our existing clients and collecting insights from them about where their blockages are. So if you can just go to the next slide, Christelle. So the most recent result of Austrade and agencies like Cairns, the industry department, obtaining insight from the difficulties that Australian exporters are suffering is assistance with air freight. So it's obvious that with the stalling or collapse of commercial passenger business, a lot of freight is actually carried in the belly or in some part of those planes, and that has dropped right off. And what that's done is push the price of international air freight up enormously, such that it's really not possible for people, particularly those with perishable goods, and I'll describe, who in this first rollout of this kind of assistance who are being supported, but it's just not possible for people to remain competitive in the market if they were to bear the full cost of that international freight. So the government last week announced $110 million to go towards subsidising effectively the price of air freight, and they're focusing on some key products, particularly perishable and high value products, such as agriculture, seafood type products. The return flights are aimed at bringing medical supplies back to Australia. Obviously, that will, of course, there'll be some supply issues there, no doubt. The website there is linked where you can find out more information. It is an expression of interest process. It's envisaged that the first flights will start leaving in a couple of weeks, so 2 weeks from now. There is an application process to go through. The key markets that have been focused on presently are China, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and the UAE. But it's really important that people provide feedback, and I'll give you an email address that's useful for you to provide your COVID-19 feedback about, and relevant just to the comment that was just made about extension to all exporters. Obviously, this is a staged process. The government's committed significant resources and time to providing whatever assistance is practicable. So I'll read out an email address for you now, and it's one that my team administers. But as I said, Austrade are playing a key role in feeding up the experience of exporters where their blockages are, identifying support that is practical and able to be delivered soon. And this IFAM, or International Freight Assistance Mechanism, is what I imagine is the first of many. So the email address to send that kind of feedback about the blockages that you're experiencing is EMDG. It's easy from the previous slides. That's EMDG.
Yeah.
.help, HELP, .gov.au.
Yep, it will be on the slide, I think, so you guys can find it when you will all receive a copy of the slide, so I think that should work. Thank you.
Put it in the slides. Thanks, Christelle.
Thanks, Dominic. Thanks for that. It's great to see some extra support. I also would like to mention a new LinkedIn group that Ken has put together. We've added it as well. It's to share information, to share some information. So when you receive the presentation, you can just click on the Join LinkedIn group, and let's all continue the conversation there, post and share our resources together. So now we've put together a list of websites as well as support groups as well on the presentation for you to look at afterwards. So tip number 10, the last one: keep calm and keep exporting. So at the moment, there's a lot of companies. I was just reflecting on that because I had one of those days the other day where I had a lot of aggressive emails, a lot of nervous people, crazy demands with unbelievable quantities. And I was like, what is going on in this world? So some of the companies are under financial stress. It's creating a lot of aggressive reactions. So be ready for that. Be aware that also some of your customers have been in confinement for a while. So everybody is getting a bit nervous. So take a step back and relax, and it will be fine. So just don't respond the same way. Keep calm. We all realize this is a difficult time, and we just be kind and take those inquiries and take a step back about them. Panic creates crazy demands, so it's more important than ever to do due diligence. We get, for some of my customers that are currently in high demand, with high demand product, we get some crazy inquiries. So it's more important than ever not to put your business at risk, to really due diligence those inquiries and not be carried away. You can also use the filter. That's some of the thing I'm trying to use for customers, is what we're doing right now in this extraordinary time. Is it in the long-term interest of our business, of your business, or not? Use that as a filter. I think it is a good guide for you to use. Is this new opportunity that is coming my way, is it a good long-term in the opportunity? Is it in the interest of my business? So have a good think about that. We're not all going to become toilet paper and mask producers right now, but we may have some new opportunities. We need to look at them carefully and not go crazy. I do remember a French producer of masks that was very active during the last pandemic, and he's been, because his product, he had been so opportunistic, he had a bad product. He's been inactive for years. He had to downsize after the pandemic and with very bad financial debt. So really be careful with this pandemic. There's crazy opportunities coming, but it doesn't mean that you should not be as careful as usual when you due diligence those opportunities. Always make sure this is good in your long-term interest and not just a one-off. To summarize, okay, we open for business to maintain sales. We look after our international your key relationships to protect our revenue and to keep our best customers long-term. We nurture our customer relationships and we educate our market online. And by also keeping our customers interested and active, we have an adapted sales process that will enable us to build some content and IP that will enable us to scale our business after COVID. With all that content we are going to create, with the videos, with the checklist, with all the content we are going to push through, this is going to enable us to educate larger sales team, to scale to a larger number of customers down the track. So this is where your opportunity is. You reshape your working relationship with your overseas distributors to focus on the high performers and empower them to sell more. So you're doing kind of a selection there, and you're working with the strong ones for the benefit of your business. Keep your international sales team busy on meaningful tasks to keep them motivated and to make them contribute their invaluable knowledge. They know a lot about your sales process. Engage them. As I said, be flexible but professional. Think about the etiquette, the web meeting etiquette. Stay alert and vigilant. Get paid. Make sure you get paid. Make sure your products are shipped, and protect your business interest and your IP. Get support, reach out for peers and financial support, and keep calm and keep exporting. Use your long-term interest as your radar and your filter. So I've put here the I will send the EMDG email address. I think we have that in the presentation. So here is everybody's email address. So we've put my email, Ken's, Dominic's. I've also added for the ones in international health, Milena's. Some of you would know Milena. She's in charge of international health at Austrade, so I've put her detail as well. I would also like to let you know that we're doing a webinar series with Ausindustry, and the next one is on the 12th of May, and we're talking about succeeding with distributors, a simple 5-step process. And this is the second. Here we go. This is a technical glitch at the end of the webinar. It has come. All right. So I will just repost everybody's contact details. If you please have any question, we still may take 1 or 2 minutes to respond. So let us know if you'd like to just put back everybody's. Any question, Q&A, feel free. You will receive our survey from us. This is a survey for Ausindustry to rate the webinar. And you will also receive a survey from us. So feel free to offer some ideas, and we will be very happy to collect ideas. We will Yes, I'm able. I've just had a content. Somebody's interested. Mitch, I think, in the webinar content that has passed on 24th of March. Europe, which country? Yes, I'm able to send you the recording. Thank you, Diane, for your comment. So feel free to reach out to us. I will just, you will receive and hear back from us very soon. Pleasure. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dominic, for being here. Thank you, Ken, for putting it together.
Thanks, Christelle. Like everyone.
Okay, we will see you maybe on the 12th of May. That would be wonderful. Talk to you soon. Have a good day, everyone. Stay well.
Thank you.